we're going to do something a little bit differently with chapter 22 in religion this week. Instead of having you highlight the notes ahead of time and then check them based off of what I've highlighted, what I thought would be a good idea was maybe if I read the chapter to you, highlighted what I thought needed to get highlighted, and then you can highlight it in your book as you read along. You can pause the video, stop and go back if you want to, if you miss anything. I think this might give us a better idea for me to give you the information that you need and for you to be able to highlight what needs to get highlighted, so you're not making messes in your book or incorrect guesses as to what needs to get highlighted. So chapter 22 is faith, hope, and love, and these are virtues that the church has established because they're virtues are habits. We're going to learn their habits that Jesus taught us about. So let's go ahead and skip to page 240, the first page of day 1. And under we believe, it says, every day Christ calls us to follow him and to live by his teachings. We answer Jesus' call to discipleship by believing in him and by loving God and others as he did. The grace God shares with us in the sacraments helps us to live by the commandments and by Jesus' teachings. The Holy Spirit guides us to live as Jesus' disciples and to follow Jesus' example of loving God and one another. We've talked about that during the chapter about the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit guides us. Continuing on with the next paragraph. Every day we have the opportunity to act as Jesus' disciples. There's that free choice that we've been talking about. The choices that we make show whether or not we follow Jesus' example. Sometimes we do not even realize that we are making a choice. We show love and respect because we are in the habit of doing it. A virtue is a good habit that helps us to act according to God's love for us. And we're going to go ahead and highlight that. Let's talk a little bit about what that means. Choosing to do right and choosing to do wrong. We know that choosing to do wrong is a sin, and choosing to do right is virtuous. Choosing to do right is a good habit. Sometimes we don't even choose to do right. We just do right. We make good choices because that's what we would do anyways. That is known as a virtue. When you have a good habit that helps you to act according to God's love for you, that is known as a virtue. Let's continue. This is a little bit challenging. The theological virtues of faith, hope, and love bring us closer to God and increase our desire to be with God forever. They are called theological virtues because theo means God, and these virtues are gifts from God. I'm going to highlight that. Theological virtues are good habits that come from God. Theos is Greek for God. So theological are virtues that come from God. I'm going to continue reading. They make it possible for us to have a relationship with God, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So far what we've got is virtues. Virtues are those choices that we make all the time, and they just become good habits. There are 3 theological virtues, virtues that God has given us. And those theological virtues are faith, hope, and love. As we continue reading through chapter 22, the next day's lesson, Tuesday's lesson, is going to be on faith, and then we'll learn about hope, and then we'll learn about love. Let's go to page 249. The virtue of faith enables us to believe in God and all that the church teaches us. Let's highlight that because that's a red word. Faith enables us to believe in God and all that the church teaches us. We've had conversations about faith and knowledge. Faith is believing in something that cannot be proven. Knowledge is believing in something because we've proven that it can happen. Faith helps us to believe all that God has told us about himself and all that he has done. The gift of faith helps us to believe that God is with us and is acting in our lives. Let's go ahead and highlight that. So in class before, what we've talked about is we cannot prove that Jesus is the Son of God. We cannot prove that, but our faith leads us to believe it. Our faith is strong, and we believe that Jesus is the Son of God. That is a gift that God has given us, that gift of faith. God makes faith possible, and that's what I was just saying. God makes faith possible, but faith is still a choice we make. Jesus once said, "Blessed are those who have not seen and have believed." Now let's break that down a little bit. Blessed in this context means happy. Happy are those who have not seen and who have believed. People that have come before us who believe in Jesus Christ and the church are happy because they're not seeking that knowledge. They accept it and they believe it. Their faith leads them to believe. Let's keep reading. We choose to respond to God's gift of faith. We choose to believe. Faith leads us to want to understand more about God and his plan for us so that our belief in him can grow stronger. Our faith is the faith of the church. It is through the community of the church that we come to believe. Through this community of faith, we learn what it means to believe. Our faith is guided and strengthened by the church. And there's that capital C, church. Because we have each other, our faith is strengthened. Our accepting what we cannot prove is strengthened because we have each other. Let's keep reading. Jesus' followers once asked him to increase our faith. They understood that faith could grow by the power of God. But to grow in faith, we need to read the Bible, pray to God and make our faith stronger, and give witness to our faith by the way that we live. Let's highlight that. If you would like your faith to grow stronger, you need to read the Bible, pray to God to make your faith stronger, and give witness to our faith by the way that we live. Giving witness means doing and saying what Jesus would say and do. So those are 3 things, test question, that we need to do to grow in faith. Okay, let's review. I'm going to go back to the previous page. All of this kind of ties together with what we had been talking about before we left in March. A virtue is a good habit that we make. It's a habit because we do it without thinking about it. There are 3 theological virtues: faith, hope, and love. The first virtue of faith enables us to believe in God and all that the church teaches. That gift of faith helps us to believe that God is with us and is acting in our lives. God makes faith possible, but faith is still a choice that we make. Our faith is guided and strengthened by the church. To grow in faith, we need to do 3 things: read the Bible, pray to God, and give witness to our faith by the way that we live. If you're interested, you can learn more about this by looking at your highlighted words below. That would be these words right here. Those are your definitions. Virtue and faith are very closely related. Okay? Tomorrow we will do day 2, which is going to deal with the Beatitudes. Okay? Excellent. I'll talk to you guys later. If you have any questions, let me know.